A quarter of all men feel like failures. Let's have a look. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. And I thought I'd talk about this survey that just appeared, or an article that appeared in the Daily Telegraph about a survey that was done that finds 1 in 4 men feel like failures. So, 1 in 4 men believe they are failing in life and under too much pressure from others to be successful, a survey has found. So researchers asked 1,500 men about their goals and aspirations. More than half, 53%, think they are underachieving, with 35% saying they are way behind with their career goals. Now, I wonder if that has something to do with just the environment that we're living in today, with the constant social media bombardment of. And I was actually talking to a friend the other day about this, how he was jealous of all these other people on LinkedIn, being so successful. And I had to tell him, mate, it's a crafted fantasy often. And but it's just natural to, when you see all that, you see the fantasy put forward, it affects you. 1 in 5 said they felt constant pressure from their partner to be successful, and nearly 1 in 10 felt it from their children. So there you go. 10% from the kids, 20% from their partner. So you can see why MGTOW is on the up in some regards. Some 28% say they could not help but feel like a failure all of the time. That's gut-wrenching, actually. So 28% of men, over a quarter. The poll by fundingguru.com found that money issues were the biggest anxiety, 35%, followed by health concerns, 19%, worrying what people thought about them, 14%. Okay, and we'll get back to these 3 things. 4 in 10 said they had sought help for anxiety. The website Max Haycock said the poll highlights the pressure that many men are under today. So it highlights the pressure. And the 3 things they've highlighted here. So anxiety, that we brought up mental health issues and stress, money, health, and worrying what people thought about you. Now, all 3 of these things, in many ways, are beyond your control, more than people actually appreciate. Your health, sure, you can influence it and guide it, but, you could be one of those people that's super healthy, fit, but then spontaneously die of a heart attack or have a stroke or just bad luck, beyond your control. What people think about you is completely beyond your control. You actually never know. You only know what they tell you. And, once you start putting videos up on YouTube, you get a strong skin for this type of stuff. People will attack you all the time personally. There's some crazy vegan lady just going nuts on some videos the other day, and she's just attacking me personally. And, you build a strong skin for that. Money, money comes and goes. You can take it from me. I've had years that have been really successful and years that have been really tight. And you've got to learn to not really use these as pegs for your life, things that you can't control. The only thing you can control is your perception, your response to that. And I'm discussing Stoicism, essentially, using Stoic principles, learning about Stoicism, reading about it. It's what I've done, what I found quite helpful. But I want to relate this to another issue that's recently happened. A few months ago, the APA, the American Psychological Association, released their guidelines for practice with men and boys, their first ever guidelines. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about this. It came out in the news, and it was a bit frustrating because there was, here, the main thrust of the subsequent research is that traditional masculinity, marked by stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression, is on the whole harmful. Men socialized in this way are less likely to engage in healthy behaviors. So the fact that they're calling up the stoicism and competitiveness here as harmful, dominance and aggression, it depends in how they're deployed, frankly. because they can be positive or negative. It depends on the environment and the circumstance. Just ask any woman if they want a masculine man or if they want a weak soy boy or someone who rolls over. And no, they're hardwired not to want that. And the argument that it can be harmful, I think, is misleading, particularly their reference to Stoicism here, because I had a look through, or I searched the document here for references to Stoicism. So this is the APA guidelines, and there was 2 references to it. And the first one was here. So under applications, so psychologists can discuss with boys and men the messages that they have received about withholding affection from other males to help them understand how components of traditional masculinity such as emotional stoicism, homophobia, not showing vulnerability, self-reliance, and competitiveness might deter them from forming close relationships with male peers. Now, how they are presenting or using the term stoicism here, I think it's more the kind of caricature, Vulcan-esque, Star Trek-esque interpretation of it, not an actual appreciation for the value of the philosophy. Some of these things like self-reliance, competitiveness, I think they are admirable traits that we should look up to people, as role models. And I'll go through a whole series of role models as well. So you have here as well. Here's the second reference I found. Psychologists also strive to reduce mental health stigma for men by acknowledging and challenging socialized messages relating to men's mental health stigma. So stoicism and self-reliance. So being stoic. And it's not about bottling up all your emotions, if you study this. It's about appreciating that you have control over them, essentially. That what you have control over and what you don't have control over. Because when you appreciate that, okay, I've got control over my emotional response to this environment around me, I'll choose to engage with it. Oh, okay, there's a big screw up on a project. Something happened. You can freak out, oh no, disaster, or you can appreciate how the only thing you can control is your response. You can step up, you can be self-reliant, you can find a solution. Oh, I've been fired from my job, it can be disaster end. You can be self-reliant and control your emotions. It's not that you don't feel them, it's not that you don't have them, it's not that you don't share them, but you control them and you manage them and you understand how it works. It's being mindful. So let's have a look at some role models. And this is from the Daily Stoic, and I'll link to all of this on my website. This is the definitive list of Stoicism in history and pop culture. So they've got, it looks like if you over here, they've got a starter pack. Get your free Daily Stoic starter pack. And if you're interested in learning more about this, I'd suggest you read a great starter. It's just Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus. But Aurelius is a good read, particularly if you learn a bit about who he is. So let's go. I'll scroll through this. So, politics and military. Some of these famous people you might have heard of: Bill Clinton, Theodore Roosevelt, good old Teddy from Rough Riders. Theodore Roosevelt, one of history's most resilient leaders, brought Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius on his deadly River of Doubt expedition. This is when he was going into the Amazon, charting an unknown river. George Washington, the first president of the United States. Thomas Jefferson, founding father. He had Seneca on his nightstand when he died, a famous Stoic philosopher, ancient Greek philosopher. Our current head of state, Sam Sullivan. We'll keep going down to more international names. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he's a fan of Stoic philosophy as well. You've got professional athletes. Joe Madden. So you can see there are a lot of people that acknowledge this. Even Rawlins. So, even crazy lefties. And even in business. So, I think the caricature presented by the APA is understandable. It's understandable, but it's concerning. And also, if you look at the things that are concerning men, money issues, health, what people think about them, They're three things that are generally beyond their control. You know, you don't know if tomorrow, even if you have a secure job, if you're employed, how much notice do you have? 4 weeks? You know, if you're an employee, do you even know that the company's solvent and you'll have your job? No, you could lose that all in an instant. You know, sure, you prepare and you plan for the worst case scenarios, but you never know what can happen. If you're running a small business, it's even worse. Trust me. You could be waiting on an invoice to come in, and it just takes longer and longer and longer and longer, particularly in the construction industry. Health, you know, there's only so much you can do. But worrying what people thought of them, wow, that's definitely something that if you are watching this and you are concerned with what other people think about you, you need to start reading about this philosophy, because it is prevalent in, you know, it hasn't died out. It's ancient Greek philosophy, but it's prevalent in Christianity. You can see the tenets of it in Christianity. It still exists there. And there's parallels between elements of this and Eastern philosophy as well. So, guys, I thought I would just share this video and give a bit of, you know, reflect on these 3 points, because if these are what are worrying you, if you're one of these people that are, you know, stressing about this, feeling like a failure, start looking up the ancients and doing some studying, because it could be enough to change your whole life. I haven't even discussed anything about male suicide and those issues here and how high that is. I shouldn't need to say these days. It should be common knowledge, those issues we have. But the fact that this many men, a quarter, feel like they're a failure, that worries me. So guys, please let me know in the comments, what do you think? Any of you following this philosophy? Have you studied any of these authors? Who's your favorite? Or do you have another system that you use? Do you feel like a failure? You know, how do you deal with that? Are you getting pressure from your partner or from your kids to provide? Do you feel like you're being used, thrown under the rug? You know, I'm sorry if you are. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Ding the bell to see my daily updates. And I'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.